Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 12 of season 3. I am Robyn of At a Tired Witch on everywhere. And I am joined by the beautiful, talented, so sensual Maria of Maria the Arcane.
Hello. Hello, everybody.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Hi. If you have just joined us this week, every week we talk about upcoming lunar phases and how we can utilize them magically in our practices. That being said, we have a super moon on July 13th. It is a full moon in Capricorn. And as Maria said before we started recording this, it's let's get organized.
It's not only organized, but super organized.
Because it's a super moon, yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's I'm sorry.
They're like super raging.
Oh no.
No, in reality, in actuality, the full moon in Capricorn is a really good time to utilize things like organization. It is a very practical moon and a very driven moon. So this would be a really good time to do magic that is goal-oriented, let's say in a bigger picture kind of thing. The good thing about Capricorn full moons is that we aren't really looking at the right here, right now. We're looking at the bigger picture. So let's say you are trying to get into a college, for example. That is a drawn-out goal of the graduation at the end. That sort of thing would be really appropriate for this moon. Anything that isn't kind of what's the word I'm looking for here? Fast.
Like fast. Slow down. Like chill out.
It's a slow burn kind of moon, in my personal opinion, even though it's a super moon. And so I would kind of utilize those big long-term goals for this particular phase. Simultaneously, it's also a really good time to do practical things like organizing your herbs. You know it. I know it. We all know it. Your herbs are a mess. Sort it out. Maybe your altar needs a good cleansing. I know normally we would save that sort of stuff for the new moon, but because of its organization and practicality, this is a really good moon to do these kind of practical things with your practice. So
yeah. And there's power in like cleaning your spaces because you're letting more really power in. So yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with everything you said.
Thanks. So smart.
That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to use it to set for long-term goals, like thinking ahead. Yeah. Yes,
long-term goals. That's 1,000% what this moon is really, really good for. So any kind of like spell work, when it comes to things like manifestation, look for the long-term goal. Don't do the quick kind of grabs for this particular moon if you want to utilize it. So yeah. Yeehaw.
So, if you just started listening to us, every podcast we talk about a tarot card. We go over the universal meaning and then our own interpretations of the cards. Hearing other people's opinions helps beginners form their own opinions, or even those who have been practicing for a while expand their views on other meanings. So, this week we're going to talk about the Chariot Reversed. So, okay. When looking at this card on the Rider-Waite-Smith version of this card, upright, we, of course, see someone in a chariot being led by two sphinxes, one black, one white, and with a town with a moat behind them. Taking a closer look at the chariot, you can see that that there's like a star cloth topper to the chariot itself, and the chariot seems to be made of stone, and a crest is featured on like in the front, which is a top and what looks like a golden, snitch from it does. It's like a circle with some wings. But So the being in the cart wears a crown of stars and armor, and on the armor is a square on their chest plate. So the universal keywords of this card reversed are blockages, lack of direction or control, and even aggression. Now, when I see this card, it depends on the cards around it, but there are two big talking points it almost always brings up. Sometimes it pops up when we have been so singularly focused on where we want to go, and that we lose our way, like you see this all the time in movies. Let's say the dad is a workaholic and he's starting to miss all of his kids' birthdays. Something huge happens and his life falls apart, and he realizes that he's been putting all of his energy, time, and direction into this one thing, into his career. And you kind of see this when the card pops up in a negative spot upright, but it forewarns it. But this is but reverse, it's that tower-like moment, a car crash, if you will, where something has happened, where I or my client need to stop what we're doing and reevaluate our life choices and where we've been putting the majority of our energy. The second instance where I see this card quite a bit is when we're going down our life path and we reach a certain point where we realize we are heading the absolutely wrong direction and we need to take a U-turn. I kind of equate it with those in college realize that the major they have been working so hard on was actually not for them. And they go from doing something like business, switching over to the arts. These things happen, and it is best to do that U-turn as fast as possible, because it is kind of like driving. If you keep ignoring your GPS to turn around, the longer you're going to have to drive back to go in the right direction. But yeah. How do you view this card, Robyn, dear?
I'm fully in the exact same boat as you this week. I am in full agreement. I view it as a car crash. And then when we talk about things like reevaluating stuff, I always pose the question, if you will, to people of why did we get on this path in the first place? Mm-hmm. You think of it, the chariot, as being in a race, right? Working towards the finish line. And if they've completely crashed, to me, it's always okay, so why did we start this in the first place? What was the end goal here? Or was it something that was a good choice for us overall? Or was this a choice that was good for us in that moment?
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe we should reevaluate some stuff and whether or not this is actually something worth putting the chariot in the repair shop and trying again for. So
yeah, I agree. And I also can see sometimes it does come up with leaving for the wrong reasons, but that also depends on what's the cards that are around it too.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I do think that sometimes this card can speak of things delayed rewards.
Mm-hmm. Delayed travels too,
sure,
in real, yeah,
in a real world kind of consequence. But I would always look to the cards around it. If it was paired with, let's say, the Eight of Wands, I'd be well, this is about travel for sure.
I could imagine getting that combo before a trip.
Oh, I would literally pass away. I'd be
I know.
Bye. Especially if you were going on a plane. I was
I know.
I'd be no, I would cancel the trip.
I'd be
I just remembered. I'd be I just remembered. I have literally anywhere else to be.
My Sag Moon would be we're just going to try it. We'll see where it takes us. It'll be fine.
No. No. My Cancer sun would be we're going to die. We're all going to die. No.
I'm this is one thing that I can't tell my wife. We're just gonna put those cards away.
This is one of those things that you go, she goes, how is the reading? How is the reading, Maria? And you go, it was better than I've ever had a reading in my life. Do not ask me to elaborate.
It was fine. Everything's
it was the
fine.
best reading I've ever gotten in my entire life. And I do not want you to ask me to elaborate on that. Just trust me.
What?
I'm telling your wife.
She doesn't gotta know.
So a little bit of housekeeping this week. Firstly, we are going to talk about love magic today, so we'll get into that in a moment. But before we get started, there's a couple things that we want to announce. First and foremost is I got every single episode of the podcast transcribed via AI. It's not perfect because it is AI, but Maria and I cannot afford $100 an hour to pay a human transcriber. I wish we could. That'd be amazing. Yeah. But as it stands right now, it is up. It's via AI. I read through most of them. It is pretty legible, I would say so. There's a little couple errors here and there, but it's pretty good. I'm very impressed by it. That being said, it is all on our website. If you go to the website, you can see podcast transcriptions right on the homepage, as well as one in the menu bar. So if you are somebody who prefers to read through the podcast, or you might be hard of hearing, or you just don't want to listen right now, whatever
you just want to read.
Yeah, whatever reason it might be, it's there now. So woo! This episode will be there too. It'll be up at the same time. So there's that. The second thing is that Maria and I are wanting to do another review Q&A episode. Now that Spotify has reviews, although they aren't written reviews, we are going to make that an option for Spotify reviews as well. So if you've written a Spotify review, do write a Spotify review. Or you want to do an Apple podcast review, either leave it as a question for the review. So like, you write your review and you write, why is Robyn so beautiful? And then we'll answer that here. Or you can take a screenshot of the review, like the 5 stars like they have on Spotify, and then send it to either our email, or submissions@coffeeandcauldrons.com, or send it to us via social media, a picture of it. And our next episode, we'll go through and answer as many questions as we possibly can. So
yeah, it'll be fun. I like answering your guys' questions.
Yeah, we haven't done that in like over a year, so we thought it'd be really fun to do. So
yeah,
yay!
Some of the reviews you guys leave are so funny. Like 10 out of 10. I love reading them.
And the other thing I just remembered, I can't believe I almost forgot it. I just want to do a quick thank you to everybody who showed up for our community spell.
Yeah. Robyn that was did such an amazing job on that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That was so calming and so good.
For those of you who didn't make it, I am so sorry we missed you. But for those of you who did come, it was incredible. And it's actually put us in a position where we have decided to do monthly meditations on the Patreon now, which I think is really fun. So I'm really glad that not only was it helpful, but something really cool, I think, has come of it. So, I don't know. Yeah.
Something to be excited about.
I think it's pretty fun, actually. So that being said, Maria, my love, why don't you tell everybody what we're going to talk about today?
So we're going to talk about love magic. We haven't talked about love magic in a while.
Yes.
Even though if to us, it feels like we probably talked about it last week. I mean, we did talk about sex magic not too long ago. Not to be confused with that. We're just talking about lovey-dovey love magic. But, but we're going to talk about what it is, how to do it, why to do it, and all that jazz. So, Robyn, what is love magic?
What is love magic? What a good question. Well, love magic takes the form of a few different things. So first and foremost, you have the standard love magic that blows up both of our DMs. I think you know it. I know it. We both know it, which is the bring my partner back to me love magic. Or the other side of the coin is this person has no interest in me. Please do some magic to make them have interest in me. I think that's probably what we could easily say is the most common or well-recognized version of love magic.
I agree.
Yeah.
But
do I think it's the most beneficial form of love magic? I don't personally. Do you?
no, like I think especially in unhealthy situations, it can actually lead to more heartbreak and more unhealthiness. And just, I think it just prolongs the heartbreak. Honestly,
I entirely agree.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks. I hate knowing people are hurting and, longing for the person that they were with. Like, it's hard to go through that.
Absolutely.
It's horrible.
And I think
it's horrible to date. It's horrible.
Yeah. And that is why I decided. Yeah. That is why I decided to no longer do that. Sorry. No longer taking relationship applications. I think that there's a lot of validity in it, and I know that there are certain traditions that those sort of love spells are so common, and normal. They're normalized, and I think that if they are comfortable doing it, then good for them.
And if it makes them happy, do it.
There's a lot of traditions where things like magnet spells, love spells, attraction spells, breakup spells, all that is super common, and I don't think that there's anything per se wrong with it. It's just not something I want to do. I
know. I just want everyone to feel better after like a breakup. I hate like when people keep hurting.
And my question I always pose to people when they ask me about love spells like that is, okay, so let's consider why you guys broke up in the first place. Could be for any number of reasons, right? Do you think that making them come back to you is going to fix that? Do you know what I mean? And so I on their own, I don't think that they're necessarily bad. I have kind of no feeling towards them one way or the other. But I always wonder and pose the question of, is this going to fix the problem? And am I going to see you in 3 months because you want to bring that person back again? Because they've left again. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm not necessarily against them, but I do think that they require a lot of personal reflection before diving into them.
Yeah, definitely. So do you do any love magic for yourself?
I do. I've done love magic for friends as well. Actually, the reasons I don't like doing this kind of magic actually is because I'm actually very good at it. This is not an endorsement for you to send me messages. I will not do it for you, random strangers. Anyway, but I am really good at it. And I'm too good at it. Where it actually, how like we talked about reversals in a couple episodes ago, and like having to you have to undo something because it went too successfully and it was like a problem. Yeah. So love spells. When those go too successfully and it's a problem, yikes. A lot of yikes.
It can be really bad, like super bad, unhealthy attachments. Yeah.
It can be restraining order bad.
No, thank you. Never ask a love spell from you. Got it.
What about you? Do you ever do them?
So pre-marriage, I would have done a spell to draw, matches or anything like that.
Sure.
And I did a bunch of set intentions type thing to meet my wife. But it was just set intentions. It wasn't a huge spell ritual or anything like that. And luckily, I met her really early in life. I mean, I still had a bunch, kiss a bunch of toads to meet her, but not necessarily as much as I could have. But and then there was also that terrible middle school spell that he did on a crush I said that worked, and just not the way that I thought it would. I talked about that.
I think I forgot all about that. I am crying.
Yeah. So, and but nowadays, I kind of still cast lavish spells for my wife and I, just when I want things to be ultra romantic. I usually add a little bit of luck in. If we're going on a trip and I want things to be excessively lovey-dovey, let's say it's an anniversary trip. I want it to go well. I want it to be lovey-dovey, and it's just kind of like a personal recommitments, like ceremony.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I love her and I wanted to keep growing and I want, like, and all of this is done with like her permission, of course. And it's not that like we don't already love each other. I mean, if my witchling was here, like they'd be like, oh, they're so gross. But I think it's good sometimes, to add a little love boost for fun, just like how like people still like go on dates like with a spouse and get like dressed up, like keeping the romance alive, just a little bit of magic to help it along.
Yeah, I really like that. Actually, a lot. So,
because I love like doing love spells, like they are fun, but I'm only gonna do them for like me, like
right.
yeah.
So that being said, what would you recommend to somebody instead of doing that kind of spell? If they were like willing to kind of have some more options?
Oh, like self-love spell? Like love yourself a little bit more?
Like I'm trying to think of the right words here. Like if you, let's say, broke up with somebody or somebody broke up with you and you want them back, what would you recommend in that situation instead as an alternative to a bring them back to me spell?
Honestly, I would recommend shadow work personally. And like, just using magic to self-soothe, take care of yourself, journaling about it and reflecting on what went wrong and why it went wrong.
Right.
Just a bunch of like self-healing and taking care of yourself and allowing and knowing that your feelings are valid. And I also think like doing boundary spells, not only for the partner that, that you broke up with, but boundary spells for yourself.
I think that is a really, really good thing to bounce off of about boundaries for ourselves, because sometimes grief and pain makes us do things that
like stupid things where you look back and like, why did I do that?
Simultaneously, so does loneliness. When you haven't lost somebody, but instead you haven't had somebody around and you're lonely, sometimes our brains can play these funny little tricks on us that make us, make decisions that aren't always in our best interest.
It can ask for unhealthy relationships and being like, well, this is the best that I can get and I'm just going to stay in this unhealthy relationship.
Absolutely.
And so don't do that.
For me personally, I always recommend that instead of focusing on a singular person for love magic, to instead do magic that just draws in something that will fill your cup. Doing spell work that is just attraction spell work. I actually really like using, this is going to sound fucked up. Okay, listen, everyone, bear with me. I really like using fly traps for these things. Or like, those wasp traps that are
I'm here for it. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, those wasp traps that you can get, like, so you get that and you use it like a spell jar. So you put your ingredients inside of the trap itself, because the trap in and of itself becomes a symbol, right? And you use that like a spell jar, and then I want to do this so and then you put it outside your, like, somewhere that you spend a lot of time. So usually probably like your bedroom window or like, I don't know, your office or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And you put it outside and use it as a way to attract the right kind of person in.
Yeah, and I also think after like also doing that type of thing, also just doing attraction spells, not just for relationships, but finding like something that you'll really enjoy in the meantime until you're into another relationship or meet someone. Because I feel like when we are like happy and we're like enjoying life, even outside of our relationships, like it even makes our relationships healthier. So, like doing attraction spells for things like that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Yeah.
And I know that like things like fly traps and like wasp traps maybe seem a little counterproductive because they are collecting pests. But think of them like the humane like animal traps, those sort of things where they aren't pests. You're trying to, you know,
what you could do is you could put some cinnamon in it, since cinnamon actually gets rid of pests. So like maybe you add some cinnamon or like a protective ingredient to keep away the, you know, bad stuff. Yeah. I'm going to do this. So if you were going to do,
I'm like giving Maria ideas.
You are like, I'm jazzed. I'm probably going to do this during the full moon now. But what would you do? Like, let's say that you wanted a life partner, like, and you haven't met your husband or anything yet. Like, what would that ceremony look like for you?
Now, we talked about this before. We have talked about this on the podcast before. I did do something like this personally. And for me, it was an open-ended, like, kind of annual ritual. I did it once a year until I met my person. Where I was really specific about the types of people that I want. I basically wrote a letter, like to my guides that was about the type of person I wanted to bring into my life. And there was, for me, I'm not saying you can't do this, but for me personally, it had nothing to do with physical appearance. It had to do with the qualities that I was looking for in a mate. Actually, that's a lie. I think I did add some appearance things in there.
Heavily tattooed.
Well, that's just it. I'm pretty sure I did say that I wanted a tat daddy, and that's what I got. Yikes. Reflecting on that in this moment is interesting.
You're welcome.
Oh my. I want to go find those letters. I still have them.
No,
I do. I still have them.
Special.
I have them in a box, my special box. I have a special box that has all my memories in it. I know box. I still have at least like 2 of them. But I basically just kept putting out there, and like if I met a partner that was not fulfilling those needs, I was always the dumper. I dumped.
Me too. Right before I met my wife, I was so done with dating that I would
me too. I was like,
I would go on a date with someone and be like,
listen, I know my husband edits this episode, so I'm just gonna say it and he can just deal with it. When I met him, I was like, this will be a fun hookup, and then I will never talk to him again. Literally. I was like, we'll just see where this goes. It'll be fun, but like,
my wife and I had that whole like Wayne's World moment, you know, where he sees her on the stage and he gravitates to her. That was me to my wife and my wife to me. Like it was amazing. That's how I knew it was different. It was very different.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, I just got real specific, and that's what I think people should do as well. Just get specific. Start being really, really honest and writing out what you need.
Yeah,
and I think the qualities that we're looking for in people, like, they matter. These things matter. This, you know, like one of the things that I wanted to be able to like grow with my partner. And I would say, especially if you look at our relationship over the last decade, how much we have both grown individually, but also as a couple. And that's what I wanted. I wanted somebody that, yeah, we clicked, but also that continued to develop into something as the years have gone by, you know?
Yeah. I think like if I wanted to do like a commitment type spell, it would like, let's say I had not met my wife, it would have been like a huge ritual. Like asking for a life partner feels like a very magically intense thing to ask. You know what I mean? And when I do like huge rituals or things like that require energy, I typically take like the whole evening to do it and like make sure everything is also cosmically aligned as possible. Like doing it like a Libra full moon, or when the, you know, Venus is in Libra, and trying to also align it maybe on a Friday. And, you know, for like big rituals, I hide my phone or anything, any distractions, and like take a nice cleansing ritual bath and wear something that makes me feel like really good about myself, like a silky nightgown. And as you said, like writing things out, like as descriptive as possible, especially about your life partner. So detailed. Like we're talking pages.
Like get detailed. Like
yeah, and it's one of those spells where I feel like doing a spell jar, because it's long term, would be probably the best go instead of doing like a candle spell, but that's really up to others. And I think it would be really cute to actually also write out a love letter to your future person. Wouldn't that be so cute?
That would be so
tuck
cute.
it into your altar and like keep it at your altar.
Oh, I love that. That's so romantic.
I'm going to like divorce my wife and then like do that and then meet her again.
For me, just tell the people. Just my dear Robyn. Oh, how I count the ways.
Do the whole the love letter from Little Rascals. I forgot what it was. I used to be able to say it word for word. That would be so funny.
I know the one you're talking about. The dear Darla.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Aww. Yeah, but honestly, at the end of the day, to kind of, I don't know, wrap up this segment, I think that you should do love spells if you want to do them. Don't do them if you don't want to do them. It's our advice to keep it more open-ended and be willing and open to receive, you know, what is that comes into your life. But that being said, let's say you do a love spell, an attraction spell, and you're like, I want to meet a girly with blue hair, a septum ring, an impeccable sense of style, and Crocs. Okay, and here I come into your life. I'm just, here I go. I'm strolling into your life, right? And all of a sudden, you realize that I'm really loud, and I talk about my poop sometimes, and I fart a lot, and you're like, ugh, this isn't for me. Then dump me. I mean, that person, not me. I'm not dumpable. But just because you've done the love spell and on the surface, somebody has shown up, right, that seems to fit those boxes, that doesn't mean that they're your twin flame or your soulmate or your person when they're like bothering you with some of the things that they do.
Overlooking their huge bad qualities.
Yeah, I mean, this person has a lot of bad qualities.
No, you're perfect.
Thank you. I know.
But I also
you hear that? Haters, I'm perfect.
But also, like, don't keep hurting yourself too. Don't keep rubbing salt in the wound and like trying to like cover up a huge injury with a Band-Aid to be like, come back together. You know. Don't hurt yourself more. Don't do it.
Exactly. And
you're better than that. You deserve better than that.
Yeah. And I guess kind of my point, I guess, of all of this is, you know, just go back to whatever your spell was that you done it, whether that was a letter like Maria suggested or a wasp trap like I suggested. Go back to it, right? And make some alterations and move forward. Maybe be a little bit more specific, you know? Maybe you need to write down that the blue-haired goddess farts too much and you want somebody who farts a normal amount. Maybe that's what you mean. I don't know.
Goes back, opens up the note. Doesn't fart a lot.
Too much farting. Less farting, please. XOXO, Gossip Girl.
Just have a go and stop list. Like write out the go in green and the red.
in red. Oh my god, that'd be so funny. But yeah, that's a good idea. You should try that. Let us know how it goes. So, Maria, what's stirring your cauldron this week?
Thank you so much for asking. So, when the Sag moon rolled around, I did a spell for travel, and it has been actually manifesting super well. Like, I am
That's so
Sag
amazing.
moon. So traveling is very important to me, especially when I'm stressed out and in my feelings. It's not to escape them or not face them, but it's like a breather, you know, something to look forward to when I'm dealing with life.
Mm-hmm.
And
she's not escaping her problems, everyone. She's a healthy adult.
I know they get worse if you just ignore them. I've learned. But anyways,
Couldn't be me.
You know, and it's my version of self-care, like, for sure. Like, we aren't like going anywhere like super like bananas or anything like that. Like, it's just like little,
she's going crazy, guys.
Little small mini trips within driving distance. And it's just like, I'm really looking forward to it. And it's something that like I can keep going each day doing the hard stuff. And I'm like looking forward to it. And I'm like really appreciative that the Sag moon spell is coming through. And
I love that.
Make me very happy.
You're going to need to give that to me so that way I can do some travel as well.
You're going to be like eventually be in a place where you can travel like and go see amazing things.
I know. Well, I would like to get that first travel out of the way.
Fair.
Yeah. So that sounds nice, though.
Yeah.
That sounds very nice. I'm excited to see all the family photos.
Oh, that you only can see because I don't share family photos on Instagram.
I'm very special. Nobody else can see them, but I get to see them and I enjoy them. So
you're special. So special. So, Robyn, what is not stirring your cauldron this week?
Thank you so much for asking.
Oh, no problem.
I have burnout, like pretty bad, actually.
That's valid.
What's not stirring my cauldron this week is burnout. I'm feeling super burnt out. Not as a witch at all. Just so everybody knows that. I've got a lot going on in my personal life. I have a lot going on in my professional life. And like, listen, I'm not a video person. Like, for the funny little videos, I'm not good at them. I mean, I'm okay at them, but I'm not great at them. They don't drive my they don't pull my chariot.
You do really cute ones. I like them.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But I get it. I hate them. I hate doing them.
I prefer doing photos. That's what I enjoy. I enjoy visual art. And although I am witty, hilarious, and clever at all times, I'm also not a comedian. And so coming up with these hilarious things at all times is actually difficult. And, you know, we had some situations happen in the community a few months back that I'm still not recovered from. I feel like it really took the wind out of my sails and hurt, and I'm still feeling pretty shitty about that. And then on top of that, we've got all this crazy shenanigans happening in the government, and that's just like I just feel like it's one thing after another, and I'm just I'm burnt out. I'm exhausted. I'm like, all right, when is the good news now?
Yeah, I think like everyone can relate to you right now. I feel like everyone's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
I don't even want to do anything. I just want to lay on the floor and just be still.
Yeah.
You know, my little tweet about the yoga and like my favorite part was being dead at the end. Yeah, that was not a joke. I like to pretend I'm dead, so what?
Here you're like, I'm just gonna lay here. Like, I'm going other places. Let's just
don't talk to me. I'm just really burnt out, and obviously, like, I'll get over it. Like, I feel like changes are coming really soon and I'll be totally fine.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to like implement meditation into my life again to like help with some of the anxiety that I've been having. I'm burnt out.
I'm so sorry. I'm giving you a hug.
Thank you. And like something that a lot of people don't realize, I know Maria knows it, but it's something that a lot of people don't realize is that when you kind of get into this sort of little position of being an internet witch. Other people that you really looked up to or idolized or whatever you want to call it in the past, you kind of get to know them as actual people and not just like the words they've written in books or whatever. And you're just like, oh, you actually kind of suck. You know what I mean? Like I know you know what I'm talking about. Like you'll get to know somebody that you really love something of theirs that they did, and then you're like, ugh, yikes. And I feel like that's happened a lot this last year in total, at least for me, where I've like am learning about all these people that like I really looked up to or idolized or just really have historically been inspired by, whatever, and finding out that they're actually like really crappy people. And that has sucked. Their work is still amazing, of course. That's why it's a general statement. But that also adds to the burnout feeling. Just like the disappointment over and over again of like people. And I'm just like, oh, okay. That's cool. I'm cool with that, actually. Thank you so much for asking.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. But that's what's not stirring my cauldron this week.
It'll get better.
It will. I know it will. And like I said, I really think that there's like a big change coming soon. That's like
there always is when things like are the worst.
I feel like it's been like this cycle of things being kind of shitty, and I feel like the shift is coming really soon. So I'm not worried about it. Yeah. But it is something that is not stirring my cauldron this week.
Valid.
Womp, 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 womp. If you're just joining us this week, every single week we talk about creators that we are loving right now. This can be shops, Instagrams, books, arts, accounts, anything that we want. So that being said, Maria, Medea, my angel, who are you loving this week?
So I'm loving a book that is coming out. Hasn't came out yet. That's by Claire Goodchild of Black in the Moon on Instagram. And I'm pretty sure all social media.
I think so too.
Yeah, it's the Book of Seances. And it's going to be for divinatory purposes like tarot spreads and stuff like that, to talk to spirits. And everything Claire does is so amazing and so beautiful. Well done.
It's true.
Yes, I do want all of those Oracle decks she's releasing. Here's the time one, the ancestor one, like, yes, please. But yes. I'm really excited about this book as well because it looks really good and I want it. Yes, please. Yes. So who you been loving or what you been loving?
Listen, we all know that I'm a Halloween slut. And the Halloween Michaels rollout has like begun. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
I haven't seen it yet.
So they haven't put out that much stuff yet. They've done like a soft launch. Yeah. So like their full lineup isn't out yet, but they've got a bunch of like little ghost things here and there, blah, 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 blah. But okay, freeze. We've got a Beetlejuice theme that's had like stuff. They've got Beetlejuice stuff. They have, the snake in Beetlejuice. Mm-hmm. They have a car buddy, which is an inflatable, like the lawn ornament inflatables.
Yeah, it's like the people who buckle in the skeletons into their car.
Except for it's the snake from Beetlejuice.
Amazing. I want it.
So cool. So I'm just getting excited about that. I love Halloween. I know that we just had summer, so if a blonde, tall, shirtless man is listening to this and goes, "It's summer's only started." Shut up, Dawn. Nobody's asking you.
No. As soon as August rolls around, things start coming out.
Not only that, but I made a really big mistake last year. It was my first year with a child. So I didn't realize how quickly things sell out. I did not realize that if you want to get matching Halloween pajamas, you got to get them the week that they come out. Yeah. Or you're not getting them. So
don't worry. As soon as October starts, like they start putting out Christmas stuff, and it's like, what?
Right. So my ass has learned its lesson, and I've been on it this year. Like on it. I've been looking at everything. Last year, I didn't get the blanket I wanted from Home Goods, and I literally cried about it. It was very sad, very pathetic. Shut up again. But yeah, I'm so excited about it, and I think I'm like on it, and I'm like, they've already started the soft launch. That means the other stuff is coming soon too.
Yeah, around August, that's when my wife and I go start hunting at stores.
Usually me too, but I've been on it this year. I've been looking and I had such a bad time last year that I was like, never again.
Well, you just had a baby, like
right. I just had a baby and was super hormonal, which was literally why I was crying over a blanket, which is fine and normal, actually.
No, that's fair. I mean,
thank you. It was a really cute blanket.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for joining us today. We hope that we will see you again on Friday, July 22nd for our 13th episode of Season 3. Or you can catch us on the in-between, maybe, for our coffee talk. We'll see. As soon as things settle down, we'll start coffee. Yes, we will.
There's a lot going on right now.
There is.
Yes.
Now, that being said, as a reminder, go ahead and leave us a review with a question on Apple Podcasts, or take a screenshot of the review that you left us and send us a question at submissions@coffeeandcauldrons.com or via our DMs on Instagram or Twitter.
Yeah, on the Coffee and Cauldrons pod, like things.
Yes.
Because mine are actually shut down, so I couldn't see anything.
Yeah, send them actually to the Coffee and Cauldrons, like, social media, is not ours directly. You can keep an eye out on our Instagrams or Twitter, or you can follow us on our website, which is coffeeandcauldrons.com, to find all of our social medias.
Yeah. Or even better, you can join us on our Discord tier, which is First Coven on Patreon, so we can answer like different questions in our part 2 next time.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you've been loving Coffee and Cauldrons, just to restate, please take a moment to review us on Apple Podcasts
for the 5th time in this episode.
We definitely appreciate it. We love reading your guys' things, especially the funny ones.
We do. You'll even get to hear our lovely, sexy, sensual voices for an additional 30-ish minute episode for being on the Patreon tier, casting and up.
So again, this is Coffee and Cauldrons
with Robyn from At a Tired Witch on Instagram.
And I'm Maria from @Maria_the_Arcane on Instagram.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Hi, witches! What was that on your end? Was it good?
It's perfect.
Yeah, it sounded perfect. Good. Okay.